I think my fiancé is setting me up, and also that she might be hiding something. Please, help me. Okay, now that this is all typed out, I realize this sounds really, really silly. But I don't know what to do, and I've already put some time into writing this, so I might as well post it and maybe get some much-needed insight. TLDR, my fiancé's friend is hitting on me. My fiancé doesn't seem to mind and even seems to encourage her behavior, and I can't make sense of what the hell is happening. Now this is a story where nothing happens, except a very strong gut feeling that something is out of the ordinary. First things first, I'm not in the US, so I don't want legal advice, because it probably doesn't apply in my country unless you're Brazilian. Anyway, I am 26, have been engaged to my fiancée, Laura, F29, for about 3 years, but she's in my life for almost 10 years, and we've been dating on and off since 2018. This will be relevant in a while. Our relationship is great in every sense since the beginning. We're what most would call a bland couple, so we mostly don't fight and agree in pretty much everything. Life goals, career, bedroom, living standards, work-life balance, you name it. And one thing we always agreed on was that we were monogamous. I have my personal views about open relationships that are very strong. Lara's not much, but she agreed that as long as we were a couple, we would be monogamous. But things started getting a bit weird since this girl, let's call her Amanda, got into her life. So I'm pretty sure Laura met, or reconnected with, Amanda at work after the COVID restrictions were lifted, and they went into a pretty intimate friendship in a matter of weeks, to the point of spending a lot of time messaging or FaceTiming each other, going together on girl nights. I found it rather strange at first, because it's so out of character for my fiancé, normally very private and even a little shy, to go from, I just met this person at work, to she's my best friend. Well, I confronted her about it, not because I'm jealous or anything, but because it was weird coming from her. She told me that Amanda was, in fact, an old friend of hers from school, and that they used to spend a lot of time together but lost contact, and now are reconnecting. Okay, this explanation went good with me, and I stopped thinking about it, and would not have thought of the matter anymore if it weren't for what happened afterwards. You see, Amanda is very, very flirty towards me. She always strikes up conversation with me, compliments me a lot, makes **zool jokes / innuendo directed at me, and it happens even in front of my fiancé. Honestly, I can't say I'm used to being flirted with, but I know the difference between when someone is being nice and when someone is actually hitting on me. But I let it rest for a while. It might be just how Amanda is. But then something weird happened back in January, not getting into detail, but Amanda crossed some of my boundaries, and I felt the need to confront Laura. I talked to her in a very serious manner about what I thought Amanda was doing, and asked Laura if she had ever noticed something as well, and if it bothered her. Laura all but laughed at me, told me not to stress over it, and to go with the flow. She even gave a little wink when she told me that. From that day onwards, I didn't speak to Laura about the subject anymore, but I kind of noticed that Amanda's flirting started to get more straightforward. She even asked me out, although in a very subtle fashion, once, while Laura was on a work trip. I obviously refused, told her I loved Laura and we were monogamous and stuff, and she shrugged it off. But what is keeping me awake at night is something that happened just yesterday. As you might know already, the southmost state of my country, Rio Grande do Sul, is going through a very dire situation right now, with terrible floods. I happened to be there traveling for work when the floods hit. I won't get much into the details, but I was scheduled to be there for a week to attend some training sessions and workshops, and I ended up having to stay for a few days more, since all flights were canceled. I decided to come back via bus, out of my own pocket. It was a very demanding trip, a day and a half in total, just to get to state capital. From there, I would have to wait about 10 hours for the next bus to my town, which would be another 3 hours. So I arranged with Laura to make the trip to state capital, pick me up at the bus station, and get a hotel room for us to spend the night, so I could get some rest and we would come back to my town in the morning. She loved the idea and told me not to worry, that she would get a hotel, and yada yada. Well, when she sent me the address, I looked it up and realized it was in fact a love hotel. And a fancy one, by the way. Well, I loved the idea, first because she was paying for it, haha, and second, because we had spent the past 2 weeks without any intimacy. I reckon she wanted to catch up in more than one sense. But I digress. Okay, so last night I arrive at the bus station. She gives me the instructions to find where she is parked. I go there, see our car, and as I approach it, almost instantly the door opens, and Amanda comes out. What the heck? She had her hair and makeup done, and I mildly panicked. Why was she there? Did something happen to Laura? She was all giggly too, told me nothing was wrong, but that Laura asked her to come and get me to Love Hotel? I stand there, flabbergasted, and she grabs my arm and tries to coax me into the car. Now, I'm a quick thinker of sorts, especially when my gut feelings kick in. So I tapped my pockets, pretended to be anxious. It wasn't very hard, and not much of pretending. I was very anxious, and told her that I had forgotten my phone on the bus, so I had an excuse to dart back into the station. From there, I immediately texted Laura, who laughed at me. I understood at that moment that she was behind it, so I told her I was not going to spend the night with her friend at Love Hotel, and she just kept laughing and told me it was fine, but that I was stupid and oblivious to miss that opportunity, and that we would talk when I got home. I was very confused by this altercation, and being already tired from the trip, I took a cab, asked him to drive me to the nearest hotel, and booked a room for the night. I spent the night awake, overthinking, and irrationally afraid that Amanda would find me somehow. I called Laura this morning. We had a quick chat, where she told me that Amanda was a bit disappointed at me but not mad. I didn't even ask, and that I could come back by bus, but she refused to engage in any conversation about the subject. I told her I was feeling confused, in the sense that I really don't understand what's happening. She reassured me everything was fine. I told her that I didn't think so. I was feeling very weird, and she once again told me she wants to talk to me only in person. So what the heck is happening? I booked one more night, so I won't be coming home today. But has anyone here gone through anything similar to this? Why did Amanda catfish me? And with Lara's a veil, after all? The things that are going to my head is that either Laura wants to test me of sorts, or that she is seeing someone else and wants me to reciprocate. I can't see any other possibility, and honestly, I feel like I don't know my own fiancé anymore. Am I overreacting? And now to the another story, story 2. I cheated and lost the love of my life. Can I get her back? I want to start off by saying that I have a wonderful girl. I've always been the no long-term relationship type of guy for years. All I did was sleep with multiple women, but always searching for the one. Eventually, after years, I finally found her, and I was sure of making it work. She ticked all the boxes. My friends liked her, my family did too. We talked about marriage, children, and we were going to spend the rest of our lives together. Or so I thought at least. Recently, I have been getting my old urges back. It's almost like, because I'm so accustomed to seeking new partners, I have a hard time staying with one person for long. I started trying to talk to cute girls online, but deleting messages before I would see my girl. This went on for a few weeks to a point where she overheard me at a party talking to my boys about how I'm getting bored and I want to *CK someone new, and that it would be purely physical. Since then, she has been on a bit of an edge, even thought I did my best to keep her at bay. Eventually, it was all good, but our *X life had taken a decline, so she wasn't completely fooled. She had asked me multiple times if I had been talking or having *X with other women, which I always replied, no. It was particularly true I haven't had *X with anyone else to this day. I was trying to, but it never happened. During this time, I had taken the process into overdrive, talking to multiple women on multiple social media accounts, Snapchat, Instagram, even Facebook. One night we all went out and I got belligerent drunk. After the night, we had decided to get a hotel room with all my friends and her because we were far from home and all of us had a lot to drink. No one wanted to drive the distance. When we got there, I had passed out completely. Suddenly, I had received a call from a random number from Nigeria, one of those scam calls on WhatsApp. The profile picture was a lady in a bikini. I was still knocked out and she had seen this. All my friends at the time went out for a smoke. With everything leading up, she had decided to go through my phone, fingerprint, and voila! Everything I had been doing was available to her. It absolutely broke her. She read all the convos, took pictures of everything, and by the time I woke up, she had left. I am in complete distraught, in disbelief that everything happened so quickly. I called her. She was furious. She had given me everything and more, and I ruined it. Only then does everything come into mind about how idiotic it was for me to seek the company of others when I had everything I've ever wanted right there. It was the first time I had felt like this. I was never in a long-term relationship because I knew I wouldn't marry any of the women I was meeting. My single lifestyle habits ruined my potential marriage. Furthermore, I had not gotten to physically cheat, for which I am now grateful for. And right when I had started really talking to other women, I get a random call from Nigeria while I'm passed out. I thought of that as nothing short of divine intervention. God was giving me a slap, a wake-up call. The past few days have been torture as everything reminds me of her, such a sweet and gentle soul, ruined by my greed for wanting more. Honestly, it's been making me cry, a lot. I have never shed tears like this over a woman, which also tells me that my feelings for her are real. I cannot lose her and I am determined not to. Women like her come by once in a lifetime, and that's if you're lucky. We had made arrangements to return what was left of our stuff. She said to leave it outside, she would pick it up and didn't want to see me, but I couldn't just let her go. I had to see her face to face. This would be the first time we see each other since that night. We meet and it's just tears and pain from both of us. Her feeling betrayed and lost, me feeling deep regret and not wanting to lose her. She says nothing will be the same and I agree, but I am willing to spend the rest of my life making things right if I have to. Understandably, she wants some time to herself to think things through, which I agree to. Before she leaves, I spend the time telling her everything about what I feel, crying as I explain. I kiss her and I tell her to drive safe and that I love her. Next day, I wake up blocked on everything, down to the last app. I managed to get a hold of her, though several private calls and random numbers via calling apps. She mentions that she doesn't trust that I haven't slept with anyone and can't trust me. How do I convince her that I haven't physically cheated with anyone? How do I get her back and rebuild everything? I cannot accept losing her. Every fiber of my being wants me to fight for her. Lastly, if you were in my shoes, what would you do? If you have read this far, I appreciate you taking your time to do so. I hope you can understand why I thought it was necessary for the full story. Thank you. And now the last story, story 3. My wife betrayed me multiple times because I'm an ED*T. I have been married, M59, to my wife, F54, for 31 years. It was rocky from the start. We had a daughter year 1. Our only child, whom I cherish to this day. We struggled financially and scraped by for a few years until I got a promotion at work and things got better. It was a particularly demanding job, and sometimes I would work 18 to 20-hour days 2 to 3 days a week. Usually had weekends off. This pattern went on for about 5 years with no problems. During this time, I procured a very good friend and we shared our lives as if we were family. Always hanging out. Life was good. Happy family, happy work, happy friends. Unfortunately, money was still tight and my wife decided to go to work in retail. Sounds good, right? It was for about 2 years. Me and my friend were still inseparable. Do you see where this is ultimately going? He started getting weird about my wife, saying he wanted to take her out for a beer. I told him we have beer here, and he can give her one of those. Ha. I thought it was funny. I heard this nonsense for months and dismissed it as stupidity. Keep in mind, I was only 28 at the time. No excuse, But one late afternoon, around 5 p.m., I had a couple of other buddies at the house and we were playing video games. Mortal Kombat. While this is happening, these two come in and ask if it's okay if he takes my wife out for a beer and they will be back in 30 minutes. Okay, I said, no longer than an HR. Well, 6 p.m. came and I got nervous. 8 p.m. came, I got pissed. My other friends went looking. I got a babysitter for my daughter and I went looking. I went to his house and found his buddy there that was with them. He told me they dropped him off so they could be alone. After getting slapped up, continued to look, no avail. Went home relieved, the babysitter waited. 5 a.m. these dregs come rolling in. I demanded answers, but they proclaimed their innocence. It wasn't what it looked like. They were just drinking and nothing happened. Really? Under threat of death, they would not confess. Remember, this was 2005. No cell phones. Blah blah. The next day he stopped by to talk to her to find out if she blabbering. We were no longer friends, and that is with me forever. I wanted to commit homicide. I walked away with no proof. 1 year later, she got a new group of friends. See where this is going? Long story short, she went to the bar with them. Me and my daughter were left alone again. She got home at 7 a.m. the next morning. I watched him drop her off a block away. Here is the excuse. I was just drinking. I am on the rag, so nothing happened. I just passed out. No proof. Denial. Last one. This had caused a lot of tension in the house. I am not a passive guy, and I carry a grudge. I love my wife, but Jesus. Okay. Same friends going to bar. I gave a stern warning. Come back with my wife or you die. Guess what happened? I was babysitting their kid, who has special needs and requires constant supervision. 12 a.m. rolls around. Nobody. 2 a.m. they finally get there to retrieve their child. Where is my wife? They don't even say a word and try to bolt before I block the exit. Where the hell is my wife? No answer. I can't get violent because of the child, but I wanna. Here we are again. Me actually lying down with my child to go to sleep because I need the calm and comfort. I set the deadbolt to the back door so she can't get in. I hear the knocking at 6 a.m. I slowly, very slowly get up and let her in. Here's the story. We just wanted to drink, but we passed out and just woke up. Nothing happened. As usual, I'm a special. Kind of stupid, no proof. But as it turns out, she lost her checkbook. This freaked her out, so she had to admit where she was, which was at the lake behind the tree line. She still denied wrongdoing and said they just took a drunken nap. No proof. I lived this lie for 18 years. It's *ked. Everyone lied to me. Many knew. Karma is a fickle mistress. I had totally forgotten the name of the third dude who just took a nap, but one day recently my wife mentioned his name and his son works for me. I went and talked to him, and he called his dad over. I confronted him and I crap you not. This dude was terrified and confessed everything. He said it was a one-time thing and he never pursued it. I found out he was married at the time, and I gave him 1 week to come clean or I would do it for him. I am submitting my divorce decree today. I told my wife and she said, "You are going to divorce me for something that happened 18 years ago?" Yes. Because to me, it was yesterday. Never give up.